In for Baccarat, and that goes in! Hugo Baccarat gives Flint City a 3-2. Buckley, the ball falls to Buckley. One-on-one with Etheridge. What a save!
Welcome into the first ever MSN All-State Media Day for girls soccer. Jonathan Turner alongside Dan Stickrett.
Ball comes in, a good head! 1-0! Shot, another save from Etheridge! Rebound, and it goes in the back of the net. The Bulldogs up 1-0! Burzma, but then for Vlasma! 3-0! Stewart Heights with a shot! Upper 90 and in!
Effectively today here on the Michigan Soccer Network, we are launching our new division of player recruitment videos.
Mario Canoe now finds Sock. Finds Sock's got a left-footed banger. He shoots it! It's in! The Red Hawks equalize!
All right, everybody, well, welcome back here into MSYSA, and we're talking the State Cup Championships this weekend. And Dan, this is what all of these teams, when they started their season, they were thinking right here this weekend.
It all started last September when the club season began, and they went through the fall into the spring, and now we're at the end of the school year. Exciting times across the state of Michigan. MSYSA has finally reached the final stage. You'll see all the middle school and high school age divisions on the boys and the middle age divisions with the girls crowning their State Cup champions.
That we will. And, you know, Dan, we're gonna hop right into this because we've got a special treat for you. We had a chance to do an interview here earlier this week with one of the head coaches of the team that made history here last week or 2 weeks ago during the State Cup quarterfinals and semifinals. But we're gonna dive right into the schedule here, taking a look at these matchups here. They'll be on your screen here in just a moment. And Dan, looking at these matchups here, which you have right in front of you, this is what was taken here at 8:30 a.m. There are two games taking place at 8:30. This one, Nationals Union 05 Boys Black taking on Liverpool FC IA Michigan Central, the 05s. They're on field 3. And then Midland Fusion 09 is taking on Novi Parks SC 09 Lightning Gold. And Dan, this is the team I'm talking about. Cameron Wright, the head coach. This is a park and recreation team based out of the Novi Northville area. They made history a few weeks ago, beating the Michigan Jaguars. They're Novi and Northville in the same age group and have made their way into a state championship game for the first time in the history of the State Cup.
Yeah, you obviously don't see things like that happen very much in the club circuit. There's a lot of talented soccer players that don't necessarily focus full-time on soccer. A lot of these kids are 2- and 3-sport athletes growing up through middle school and now in the high school. But they've put together quite a successful season. And that whole area has been a hotbed for soccer for years. You look at Novi and Northville, their high schools have been good. They have some kids from Detroit Catholic Central out of Novi on that roster. They've been a state powerhouse at the high school level. So these are communities and schools feeding into this club, which has made for a great story. They've had an amazing season. Here they are playing in the final stage.
That they are, as we now take a look, and we have a great interview with Cameron Wright. That'll actually be at the tail end of this recap or this preview show for this upcoming weekend. Detroit City FC 10 boys will take on Carpathia Kickers FC Premier. That's at 11 o'clock in the morning in Field 3. And then Vardar 2006 taking on the Michigan Revolution GR 2006 Boys Elite. That game taking place on Field 7. The Michigan Jaguars, Northville 2007, taking on Score Millenstein, the 07 Blacks at a 1:30 kickoff. That again on Field 3. And then Farmington Fury 11 White taking on the Kalamazoo Kingdom SC 2011 Boys Red. Again, a 1:30 p.m. kickoff. Your 4 p.m. kickoff slots are the T-Bays North Storm 11 Girls against Pass FC out of Kalamazoo or Grand Rapids area. That's 2011s. And then TKO Premier SC taking on the MFA Revolution 08 Boys Elite. Again, that game kicks off at 4 o'clock. But all these games are on Field 3 or Field 7. And all of these games will be live this weekend on MSYSA's YouTube channel. You can watch all the coverage there beginning at 8:30 on Saturday morning. As Dan, we have shown all of the matchups for Saturday. Let's take a look here now at the matchups now for Sunday, as those come up on your screen. Sunday, June the 2nd. So kicking off at 8:30, the 8:30 slot on field 3, MSYSA Elite taking on the USA 05 Boys Premier Gold. And then the MFA Revolution GR09 Elite taking on the Michigan Tigers FC Elite 64. And then in the 11 o'clock slot, TKO Premier 2010s taking on the Michigan Stars. And then Score Muhlenstein 06 Black taking on the Michigan Jaguars Lansing. That boys green side, they're on field 7. And then in the 1:30 slots, 2 matchups here. Royal Oak FC 2007 green taking on Saline FC Black on field 3. The Michigan Stars 11 boys taking on Liverpool FC. That's on field 7. Again, that's the 2011 boys. And then to wrap up the Sunday and finals this weekend, the Michigan Tigers FC Elite 64, 11 girls taking on Nationals Genesee Union 11 girls black on field 3. And then Detroit City FC South Oakland 08 taking on AYSO United 08 boys premier on field 7.
What's impressive about this? You have over 230 clubs at different parts of Michigan. But I do not believe a single club has more than 2 entrants into the state finals. Very well balanced. You have teams from Metro Detroit, teams from Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo. You see Ann Arbor area-based teams up in Midland. So it's very well balanced throughout the various portions of the state of Michigan.
And Dale, we talked about this during our last preview show in regards to the State Cup and in regards to the semifinals and quarterfinals. And the reality is when you start talking about, hardware, and that's what we're talking about here on Sunday and Saturday, there's hardware on the line between all of these games. You're talking about first place, second place, but not just that, a chance to move on to President's Cup or the U.S. Youth, USYS, I make sure I get this right, U.S. Youth Soccer, so USYSA. Right? No, I don't know. Anyways,
yeah, say that 5 times.
I know.
Right.
United States Youth Soccer National Championship Series, which begins with a Region 2, is where all the teams from Michigan would go, is Region 2, and they would take place in the regional. So you have a chance not only to win a state cup and a state championship, Dan, but you have a chance to win, and go on and play for your state in the regionals here coming up later on in June.
Yeah, we'll be able to track some of these teams as they advance to the Midwest Regional, and a few teams may actually get into the national championship round. Generally, you see 8 to 16 teams at the national championships battling out to see who can come home with a national crown. There's been a handful of club teams from Michigan over the last 30-plus years that have walked off the pitch with national championships. So it'll be interesting to see which teams win this Saturday and Sunday, which teams advance to the Midwest Regional, and a few teams might potentially get into that national tournament.
And that's right. You're talking about the Midwest Regional Championships, again, presented by U.S. Youth Soccer. They're located this year in Overland Park, Kansas, where all these teams will compete June 1st through June 26th. The countdown, Dan, is 20 days, 9 hours, 5 minutes, 8 seconds.
Precisely.
Precisely. So, hey, but, a lot's going on this weekend. Again, you can catch all these games on Saturday and Sunday, kick off at 8:30 all the way until 4 p.m. Eastern. Right on the MSYSA YouTube channel. And remember, starting this fall, we're the ones that will be presenting these broadcasts, starting at Legends Sports Center in Brighton, Michigan. So really excited about that, but wish everyone who's participating this week in State Cup Finals much success. Have a great opportunity here and fun to go on and win a state championship and to promote the state of Michigan at regionals, both in the President's Cup and the U.S. Youth Soccer National Championship Series. Right now, coming up, Cameron Wright, the head coach, who made history here with his Novi 2009 Park and Recreational team, had a chance to sit down with me earlier this week where we discussed what it's like to be in this position, and among other things, also what his favorite food is. I am now joined by the 2009 Novi Lightning Gold head coach, Cameron Wright. First off, Cameron, welcome to the Michigan Soccer Network.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Well, we appreciate you stopping by. So historic would be the word to use here in regards to what your team has accomplished as in the 2024 State Cup. And I want you to explain to our audience what I mean by the word historic.
Yeah, well, it's been a very exciting exciting time for us. I think we're the first Novi Lightning team to actually enter the state cup. So that was our first challenge, figuring everything out. I remember our first round robin game. I didn't have laminated pass cards, so the referee was very, very helpful for us there. But we won our first state round robin game. We won the second round robin game. The first one, was a little bit easier than the second one. The second one was very tight towards the end. We pulled it out, and then the third one we actually tied, and we needed to advance on goal differential. So we actually thought there was a low chance we would advance, but we actually managed to advance. And then in the quarterfinals, we played a team local to us, the Novi Jags Green. We actually had two of our former players on that team, so it was very exciting to play them, and managed to get the victory there after being down 2-0 shortly after halftime, tying it up, and then winning in penalty kicks 4-3. So that was very exciting, lots of adrenaline there. And then to come back Sunday morning and play the Northville Jags Green team, beat them 2-1. Another close game was very exciting. So the boys are so excited to be playing on Saturday. They're all pumped up. They're all fired up. Very, very exciting time for us.
I mean, to those who are watching this right now, and are thinking that how is it possible with all these club teams in the state of Michigan that a park and recreation team out of Novi has made their way into a state cup final? Now, that does not, please don't take that any disrespect, right? But there are players out there who are playing all year round, who are playing for well-known clubs. You mentioned two of them. And here you guys are in Novi, a park and recreational team, and you have made your way to a state cup final. Now, that's not the norm. We mentioned the word historic here, but explain that for a second, because I think some people are going to be like, how is this possible? And I know that there are players, it's not necessarily your typical park and recreational team,
Yep.
but I think it's important to simulate that. But explain that a little bit for us here in our audience.
Yeah, so Novi's got Parks and Rec has three levels. There's the rec program, and then there's the I can't remember what the middle term exactly is, but we call it Novi Thunder. It's kind of like a little bit advanced above rec, and then there's the Novi Lightning, which is the select program. So we have tryouts. We actually have three teams at the 09 level. So there's multiple select teams. But we're the first one to really, so I used to coach the 2008 team and the 2009 team, and we basically created those teams together. We coached them, practiced them in unison. And so last year, our 2008 team was winning the WSSL top division, so we needed to find somewhere else to go. So we went to the MSPSP. The 2009 team also did that. Had some success there, and then we really know what our niche is. We know who we cater to. We cater to the multi-sport athlete who wants to play baseball as well, or who wants to play basketball or go skiing or be on the robotics team. So we cater to those people that want something more than just soccer. They're good athletes, they're good soccer players, but they also want to do other things. And the club programs are year round. They take a lot of time. One of our longest tenured players could make many of those teams, but he likes to go skiing in the winter, right? He wants to focus on skiing. So my son plays hockey. Hockey's his number one sport. Soccer is his number two sport. So we really cater to those kids that are good athletes, are very competitive soccer players, but want to focus on things other than just soccer. Robotics is another thing. We have multiple people heavily involved in robotics, and that takes up a lot of time through the winter. So they just don't have the time to play the club soccer year round.
No, and it's a great point. It's something that, we were, Dan Stickrat and I, our director of news, were just talking about this here a few moments ago before we came on with you, is that, there's a lot of options out there today as far as being competitive. And I think that, parents and players alike have to make some choices in regards to where they're going to go and how they're going to do it and how much money they're willing to invest into that sport or that extracurricular activity. And it's really cool that there are still opportunities like this for players to play at a competitive level and still fight for what would be the pinnacle of your youth career, right? I think if you were to ask any travel kid who's playing today, what would be like their highest level of accomplishment at the youth level, it would be to win a state championship. at the youth level. If you go to high school,
for
it's to
sure.
hoist a high school trophy, right?
Yep.
At the state level. Obviously, if you get past your state, you maybe can start talking about regionals. But I mean, everyone wants to be a state champion, right? And there's one of every age group in every year, and your team has an opportunity this year to hoist a state championship trophy, and to earn the right to go play in the President's Cup. After that, in the regional rounds, it's a pretty cool opportunity for probably on some level you're going, my goodness, is this even real?
Yes. No, I was, my wife will tell you, I was actually shaking when I found out that we were going to advance from the round robin tournament. I was in shock. The boys were so excited. Definitely feels surreal. That's for sure.
Surreal, definitely the word. So, something we ask you're a coach, right? And we ask this question because, what is the factor for you? What is the special ingredient this season, right? Because you have this team, you have players that clearly are special and they can play. But what's the ingredient? What's this recipe that has gotten you here?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's probably camaraderie. The boys all like each other. They have a ton of fun. Most of them go to school together. I think everyone goes to school with someone else. They don't all go to the same school, but we have probably half the kids go to Novi. We have a couple kids at Catholic Central, a couple kids at South Lyon, a couple kids at Walled Lake, Northville too. So the kids, they know each other outside of school. They're friends outside of school. I really think it's the camaraderie. We had some very good players join our team, but I think our team is pretty flat. We don't have a ton of standout players. We don't rely on one or two players. We have a very good core group of players, and they're all friends, and they all support each other. So it's been a very magical season.
If I look back at my days before I started playing travel soccer myself, I played for the city of Troy Parks and Rec. It was TYSL. I'm not sure if they still call it that today or not, but I played at that level. My dad actually was my coach, and one of the motivating factors my dad would do to get us to have fun and play and have success was he'd bribe us with Mountain Dews and Snicker bars if we won the game or scored goals, whatever like that. Is there anything that you do at this level to kind of maybe intrinsically motivate players to get more excited, pool parties, things like that, to have success?
Yeah, that's funny. We actually had a game last night, and the boys were talking about trying to get ice cream afterwards. Unfortunately, it ended at like 9:45, so the ice cream places were all closed. But we used to do a lot of that. I know we'd have. I'd bribe them, actually, not necessarily with the ice cream and stuff, but I bribe them with less conditioning at practice. Especially if it's a tie game, you score the first goal after in the second half, we'll do a few less laps of practice the next day. And so I seem to motivate them a little bit. They always hated the conditioning. We don't spend as much time on that anymore, but when they were younger, it seemed to motivate them with some conditioning. Also, the first header goal on the team, everyone got candy. So that was, 3-4 years ago when they starting allowing headers. But, we're trying to motivate them for some specific things like that some of the kids were maybe not quite as comfortable doing.
No question about that. So on Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m. up at the Saginaw Soccer Complex, your Novi Parks SC09 Lightning Gold will be taking on Midland Fusion 09 Green. What are your going into this? And obviously it's different than playing in a quarterfinal matchup, right? What are your thoughts about this game and how things are going to shake up?
It's it looks like it's going to be they're a very tough opponent. They've I haven't seen their games in the State Cup, but they haven't been close. So I'm hoping the fact that we've been in some closer games than they've been will help us. Hopefully we can keep it close, and if it comes down to it, maybe we can use that to our advantage. Use the fact that we were down 2-0 and came back, and we did go to penalty kicks and we won in penalty kicks. We are very, very confident in our goalie. So I think we feel if we can stop them from scoring goals, it'll be a close game, and hopefully we can come out ahead at the end.
Well, I think I'll be the first one to say this. We all love an underdog story. I think, Hollywood has built itself on Hollywood stories. And I can't think of another better Hollywood story than a Novi team that is not playing travel in the same sense that everybody else is, having a chance to go into a state cup final and come away with a victory and make their way into a regional tournament. So I'm rooting for you. I know Dan Stickrat's rooting for you. We're rooting for this side, and we obviously wish you and your team much success here this weekend. Regardless of what happens, you guys have already done some great things.
Yeah, thank you very much. We'll take all the supporters we can get. It's definitely an exciting moment for Novi Park soccer, and hopefully we can continue. Hopefully we can move on to the next one and keep the magical dream alive.
No, we wish you much success. And my final question for you is, it's your first time on the network, and obviously, after this weekend, we might have you back on. We'll talk about that here too. But we ask this question a lot of our guests. Dan Stickrat and I, we love talking about food. It's one of our things. And so the question I'm about to ask you is about your favorite food. And the reason I'm going to ask it this way is because, if someone said today was your last day on earth, what would you pick, right? Because I think that puts things in perspective, right? So if today was your last day on earth and you had to pick a meal, what would that meal be?
Oh my, as you can tell, I love food. There's a restaurant actually in the Troy area. I don't know if you're familiar with Cruz and Muir. They have best pizza and the best bread and the best tomato cream sauce. I would definitely have that, and I'd probably follow it up with some brownies.
So their pizza, I love Cruz and Muir pizza. Rocky's Creation, they put shrimp and artichoke on that pizza. It is unbelievably good. It is probably one of the undervalued pizza places around the area, but they've got other great food as well. But yes, Cruz and Muir, their bread, their tortellini, by the way, is awesome as well. So if you haven't had that, that's top notch. So
can't have pizza and tortellini though, so it's a tough choice.
No, that'll put you into a coma. So no worries about that. But hey, Cameron, man, we appreciate you stopping by. We wish you and your team much success this weekend. 8:30 a.m. this Saturday, bright and early, taking on the Midland Fusion in the 2009 U15 boys matchup. And it was great to hear from Cameron Wright about what this team is all about and what they're looking forward to here this weekend. But that will do it for us on this recap or preview show, not recap show. I'm so used to saying recap show, Dan. But this preview show here of the MSYSA State Cup Championship weekend here up in Saginaw, Michigan. Again, those games can be found on the MSYSA YouTube channel. All those games, both Field 3 and 7, will be live streamed all weekend long. So we appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, like us, and share this with your friends and family. And good luck to all of you up in Saginaw.